Hey, hello. You know about Ghostbird's death, right? Well, it turns out not only did that create internal misery for all us Ghostbird enjoyers, but it also brought up a very important question that changes all of the future lore of the Dream SMP. What happens in the Dream SMP afterlife? So I decided to investigate this, and boy, was it just so much fun reading about death for 4 hours. No, but seriously, I actually discovered some strange and very important information that was completely overlooked, revealing answers to questions we've been asking since the first war of the Dream SMP. It also shows which characters are most likely going to be revived and why. Let's begin. Also, only 5% of you guys are subscribed, and it really helps out the channel insanely, so please subscribe. Anyways, the best place to start is with the Revival book. We were first introduced to this during Tommy and Dream's final standoff, right before Tommy was about to take Dream's final canon life. Dream explained how J-Schlatt had gifted him a Revival book during the Manberg vs. Poctobia War, and how it could be used to revive Wilbur. This entire thing was to revive Wilbur? They decided to believe the manipulative Teletubby and let him live, even being so generous as to finally provide him with a new, secured home. The Revival book was later brought back for TommyNet's death and was actually used out of pure spite. TommyNet denied the existence of the Revival book and said it was a huge scheme made up by Dream to live. So Dream put into action plan punch Tommy to death so he can live in the afterlife for 8 days and never recover from this trauma, and cause him to make very questionable actions leading to the angst lore we have today. Classic Dream. Not only was this plotline actually terrifying, but it also revealed what Tommy's afterlife was like. After Tommy's revival, he's shown to be very scared of any form of weapon and absolutely horrified of taking damage in any situation. You can see him in every clip of him even taking half a heart of damage. He still screams in fear, leading me to believe his afterlife experience was far worse than Wilbur's. When Wilbur was revived, not only was he glad to be alive, he was ecstatic, even saying he wants to ride that horse for all it's worth, when referring to his new opportunity in life. So, as you can tell, these are two very contradicting responses, especially considering the way they both died. Tommy screaming in fear whilst being beaten to death, and Wilbur, well, begging to be stabbed by his own father. If anything, you'd think that they just switched bodies in the afterlife, but people all respond to situations in a different way, especially considering when one of those people is a deranged psychopath who just blew up his own nation. So while Wilbur's previously sociopathic behavior may explain his current behavior, what in the world could explain Tommy's? This is where the theories come in. In order to understand Tommy's behavior, we have to figure out what's in that afterlife. Wilbur mentioned how everyone sees Limbo in their own unique way, like how Wilbur's was a train station and how Tommy's was an endless void. And they all have the ability to see other dead people, just manifested in different ways. This is very unique considering he could have easily just left it as a blank void, but we're dealing with theater kid Wilbur Soot here, so you never know what to expect. One major theory that I personally love, well, not love, that makes me sound like a sadist. One theory that I appreciate is that the Dream SMP afterlife is personalized depending on the moral righteousness of the character. Even though Wilbur and Tommy had very opposite reactions to their limbos, they both could agree it was a hell-like experience that they would never want to relive. But when Mexican Dream was asked to describe his experiences, he described it as heaven-like, possibly reflecting how good of a person he was. Now before the Tommy apologists attack, hear me out. Tommy hasn't always been the most morally right character in the Dream SMP. I mean, it's practically his brand to steal items from others, and he literally got exiled for destroying George's house. So he's not perfect. And well, Wilbur explains himself. So what has Mexican Dream done wrong? Nothing. And this is why this theory makes so much sense. Mexican Dream technically was a morally right character considering he didn't do anything seen as wrong, and so his limbo was actually nice because he deserves it to be nice. The limbos reflect the actions of the characters back at them for an eternity, making them learn from what they've done so they can become better people. And why do they have to be better people? To be revived. There's a reason time went so slow for Wilbur. He hadn't learned his lesson, and he was going to be stuck there until he did. And even though I love that theory to bits, and even though that theory is okay, this one's even better and a lot more angsty, I'm sorry. The afterlife may just be a reflection of what the characters think they deserve. Okay, hear me out. There's no chance Mexican Dream wasn't a narcissist. Well, maybe not a narcissist, but he was genuinely a happy guy and he knew he deserved a good afterlife. So he got one. This theory, unlike the others, explains the personal limbos perfectly. Wilbur's character constantly fought for freedom. Whether that freedom being him founding his own nation, or destroying it to finally be free from it all, he's always searching for another way to pave his own path. But when he's in his train station, he's trapped, with nowhere to go. He's stuck in a place glowing with possibility of all the places to see, but he can't even leave. And Tommy's is even worse. All he wants to do is connect, whether with people or with animals. He always needs something to lean on. And when he's stuck in an endless void, there's nothing but himself. Nothing to laugh with, nothing to fight, nothing to trust, just nothing. He has no choice but to rethink everything he's done, everyone he's let down, for an eternity. Well, at least until he was revived. Now, those both make sense, right? Well, we're still dealing with Wilbur Soot here, guys, so brace for impact. We still have to deal with how characters change when they get revived. But don't worry, I'll go over it super fast, and trust me when I tell you it's important. When Wilbur was revived, he turned into Ghostbur, and so the idea arose that when characters are revived, they lose their memory. But not exactly. More rather, they lose the most intrinsic parts of their character, aka their most notable traits. No, I'm not saying Wilbur had an excellent memory, I'm saying he traded his memory for the cost of his sanity, changing him completely. Tommy still had his sanity, so in exchange he gave up his stubbornness, causing the mental collapse we saw him go through directly following the revival. This new Tommy also led to him being more vulnerable to others' manipulation, which is now shown to have led to the creation of a new country in the Dream SMP. Even though it's just a burger van right now, it's only a matter of time before it declares independence. They grow up so fast.